Good Monday evening to you all. It's time for an hour with Matt Eberflus on the Bears Coaches Show. Jeff Joniak with you until 8 o'clock tonight here on News Radio 105.9 WBBM. Good evening, Matt. How you feeling, buddy?
I'm doing well, thank you.
That was fun to recap, wasn't it? We'd love to get the win, obviously. I don't want to minimize that, but 35-32 to the Dolphins. It was a fun show for the entire audience watching that one. Special day. And, you know, for me, 62,000 plus had an opportunity to witness something really unique and memorable, and they're never going to forget it. In the old days, you know, you get the ticket stub, you can save the ticket stub. That doesn't happen anymore with the electronic ticketing, which I always thought was awful because that's memories you want to frame. But they saw Justin Fields run for 178 record.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive, obviously, and you know, my hats off to the entire offensive line and the receivers and everybody downfield that were blocking for him. We saw the big run where Mooney shielded the guy for him to pop that 61-yarder. So, but that was all day. You know, the runs, the design runs that we had for him, those are all being blocked really well. My hats off to Chris Morgan, our offensive line coach, and the offensive line as a whole for blocking those plays.
All right, so I used the word heroic to describe what he did. There are many adjectives. What is the first thing that pops into your mind as you're watching it? First live and then watching it again.
I would just say speed. I mean, he's just so athletic, and you know, when he gets into the open field, there's not many people that can catch him, and he's just that fast, and he's elusive too, and he's very strong. You see him break tackles. You see him get out of the pocket when a lot of guys think he's sacked, and he steps out of there and gets a first down, and very strong. And I think he's very wise in the way he's using himself, you know, in terms of running the ball. So, meaning that he gets down when he's supposed to get down. You saw that many times. He did take a one hit on an inside play that we ran, and there's really probably nothing he could do to avoid that one. But again, he was sliding on the right spots and moving boundary ball to the boundary, getting out of bounds, and doing a great job with that.
Which is a development because he did take a pounding early in this season. It concerned, you know, me just as a fan and of him because of how much. But he's not taking those hits in recent weeks. It's almost like he's gearing down at the right moment as well when he's in the open field. The slides are much better. They're not as awkward maybe as a year ago or early in the season or even back to training camp in the preseason.
Yeah, since our mini bye, we have obviously implemented some different things into the offense, and some different movement passes to help him out for some sight lines, for him to really do a good job to help our offensive line, at certain cases. So they're not always man blocking; they're in gap protection a lot of times, and that certainly has been helpful too. And then really for him just being smart. I think he's learning because we are running some of these different type runs and RPOs at the same time. That he's learning how to have discernment and when to slide and when to get out of bounds.
With the most dangerous ones, there was one by a DB when he comes at him from the side, and maybe he sees him coming. Whatever. Those side hits when he's in the open field, ones that you really can't negotiate head on. Those are the ones that scare you.
He can get put in different situations there, and he's just got to be smart. He's got to use his instincts and be smart. Yeah,
you mentioned the mini bye week. Those 3 games, you're the second leading scoring team in the NFL behind Seattle in that.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's been great. It's been great to see. They've, obviously I saw the stat with scoring drives before that, and then since that. So it's been good. The growth has been really good. But again, it's a credit to the offensive coaches, Getsy and the quarterback and all the positions. They're doing a good job. And again, we're not perfect. We have to keep on improving. In all aspects of our team, including the offense.
And he is 4th now in the NFL in first downs rushing, no matter of the position. He's got 42 of those, and 10th in rushing yards, no matter of position. So it's certainly something different and unique. Yes, Lamar has certainly done that. Jackson in Baltimore, Michael Vick before him. They each had the 1,000-yard seasons. Lamar's done it twice. It just feels different, looks different, and he's throwing touchdown passes now in addition. So that's the wrinkle that makes it look different.
Yeah, it was great. Obviously the one rushing touchdown, and obviously 3 passing TDs yesterday. Cole had 2 of them. And then we had with Mooney. Mooney did a great job as well. So it's cool.
Is it awkward for us to be so excited about what we saw, yet you didn't win? How do you balance that even as a coach with your own team, because you were in it, you had a chance to win it at the end? if there's not a special teams gap, you outscored the Miami Dolphin offense. Your offense outscored the Miami Dolphin offense.
Yeah, and that's why it takes everybody. It's about playing complementary football. And obviously the punt block that we had was disappointing, and that was obviously the difference in the game in terms of the scoreboard. There's obviously more plays that come into play when you win or lose a football game. But I was proud of the guys, the way they put themselves in position. Defense shut them out in the fourth quarter, came up with some really big stops at the end, and offense did a nice job of driving the ball. And, right there, obviously, you're obviously going to talk about, I'm sure, the non-call and the penalty and all that stuff. But
we'll get to that. We got a long show.
I know. But, but really it was just about a guys putting ourselves in position to win the game at the end, and that's all you can ask.
It's a nuance, but you mentioned it in your post-game news conference. I'm not sure if you said it in our post-game interview right away, but you said something about this at this time. It was important, but it's important for the franchise. You looked at the bigger picture of this. Can you explain more of why you feel that way?
Yeah, just when you're talking about the growth of a quarterback, and the maturation of Justin Fields for the Chicago Bears and our franchise, and I think that you can all see that. That's evident. We've seen it on the practice field for weeks, several weeks, where he's getting better, he's improving, he's understanding the offense, he feels more comfortable back there. You can see him helping the receivers. And I said this weeks ago, that he was doing that. And now we saw it in the Washington game where he drove us down there to win the game, and it didn't quite happen. But now you're starting to see it the next 3 weeks even more. So you're starting to see the fruits of his labor and the fruits of our team. And again, we're developing the whole aspects of our team, but certainly the quarterback position is a big part of that.
How about the underrated aspect of things, where you really got to be a deep X's and O's fan to understand, but just adjusting protections to make a throw, adjusting receivers, because maybe that's been going on the whole time. I'm sure it has, but it just seems to stick out more when you're putting points on the board. How much credit do you give him for that development?
No, it's really the whole group. The whole group's working together, and again, we have to improve. We have to improve every single week. This is a big week for us going into this Detroit Lions game, and it's going to be a big week for our football team.
Came out okay injury-wise. Vildor, just 2 snaps, just real quick. Anything to be concerned about this week?
Yeah, we're always going to look at that. The injuries are what they are. Well, hopefully we can get these guys back, coming here forward. So we'll see where he is, and we'll take it day by day.
All right, some guys could be coming back as well off of injured reserve.
Snap is back, looking to throw. Fields jumps up in the pocket. Now he's going to have to keep it himself. He runs, he gets the first down to midfield. Away at the 40. Fields to the 30, to the 20. Can he beat the angle? He does. He finishes in the end zone. Touchdown, 61-yard. A Sunday stroll for Justin Fields, and the Bears do match fire with fire. Touchdown Bears.
Welcome back to the Bears Coaches Show with Bears head coach Matt Eberflus. The Bears match up with the Lions, brought to you by Cigna, the official partner of the Bears Salute to Service initiatives. Back with you, and there was the journey, a 61-yarder. We were talking in the radio booth, my entire crew, for weeks now, because when Justin gets to the we knew one of these days it was going to break, and it did. And what a beautiful run. It was a memorable run. If you're at the game, you're going to always remember this 61-yard run, longest in Bears history by a quarterback. Break the one down, because there was lots of blocking there, including Mooney at the end.
Yeah, so obviously we saw that same type of run in the Minnesota game that got called back.
Yes.
But that was a pretty impressive run as well, as you guys remember. But similar here, he dropped back. We had a crossing, pattern in play there. Mooney was sitting open in the middle of the field, and Justin kind of started to pull forward into the pocket. And when he did that, he squared up to the line of scrimmage. So Mooney thought he was running. So Mooney ended up taking off, and then Justin squared back up before he got to the line of scrimmage and, got back into a passing set. And then at that time, Mooney turned away. So then he just tucked the ball back in, which actually had the defensive lineman jump, I think, and the linebacker jump in the air, and then he just took off. And then when he took off, he went to our bench, and I had a good view of it, and there was a lot of speed going by me.
Did you catch a breeze? Your hair go flipping back?
Yeah, a little bit. And then and then what happened? Mooney ended up doing that great block. He just
just a shield, right?
Just a shield block, and it was really, really smart by him. And then there it was just take off and run from there.
I mean, we could talk about him the whole night, honestly, and we're going to sprinkle in a little bit because there's just so much about it. But it almost looks like guys are standing still with him, because in the way he runs, he's got gears. he's got gears. He makes it look like he's going to slow it down and then he can speed up. But the fact is he running faster than what his time 40 was when he came out? Because it certainly looks like it. And the guys are really feeling it. I asked you that. Can you feel Fields on the field? We asked you that in the post game. And, we're in the booth. You're on the field. It's a different ball game.
Yeah, for sure it is. And, he would tell me in practice, during training camp, Coach, they didn't get me. I'd call a sack or something. He'd say, Coach, they didn't get me. I know he was right.
But you didn't know for sure, right?
Yeah. But definitely, in practice, I don't call those sacks anymore. Yeah. But he can certainly get out of some things and create a lot of things for us. And he's doing a good job of riding the pocket, and looking down the field and throwing some strikes on the field too, which is also very dangerous. For a quarterback that can do those things.
You alluded to this. Everything's growing. We're trying to grow a football team here. We're building a football team. Do you feel the offense as a whole? You alluded to this. There's progress, but do you feel it's growing roots?
I do. Yeah, I do. I really feel that. I really feel that in our entire football team. We talked about morale this morning. In our team meeting, and morale starts with standards. When you hold everybody to standards, it doesn't matter if it's Justin or if it's EQ or if it's Justin Jones, if it's Eddie, whoever that is. We have standards for a football team, the way we go about our business, and that's work. We really work hard. We are very respectful to each other, and we want to get better and grow every single week. So that's, to me, is what I'm seeing the roots of that. And obviously with the offense and doing really good the last 3 weeks. The guys have done that, and then on defense, obviously we had adversity. We lost 2 of our players, to trades, and that's for the benefit of the franchise. We understand that in the long run, but now we have to, do a great job of leaning on that foundation of standards of what we do, and the guys are doing a good job over there. So, guys are going to have increased roles, as Sanborn's going to get increased roles. Joe's going to get more increased role. Those defensive ends are getting more increased roles, and when they do that, they have to perform, and they got to perform more consistently. So that's our message for the defense, is just to be consistently executing our defense and the standard which we apply, and good things are going to happen. We're going to get better, on that side of the ball, and we're going to play good complementary football, offense, defense, and special teams.
Why'd you choose today to talk about morale with your team? Why? Did you get a sense of something?
No, I always talk about it.
Okay.
I always talk.
So it's
about
every week.
Yeah, it's every week. To me, that's always the number one issue on any football team. And when you win, against New England, you don't have to talk about it. Because guys are excited, and then you have to lock them in, make sure we're focused on the task at hand. But you always got to talk about that, because to me, that's what it's all about. And it starts with the individual man. That's what it starts with.
I thought Eddie Jackson quotes were pretty powerful, because he said, hey, man, I've been here all these years and never had offense like this. And now we feel like we got to help them out, and we're not doing it. We got to fix this. And do you like that he brought that up?
Yeah, that's accountability. He's an accountable young man, and obviously he made a huge tackle on that third down.
Could have been a touchdown.
That third down play, what a great tackle coming out of the middle of the field, and what a great low hamstring tackle to drop him where he was and gave us a chance to make that stop on fourth down. So what a great play.
Fields going to roll, chased by Phillips, hits Cole Kmet at the 11, to the 5, to the end zone. Touchdown! Touchdown Bears! Cole Kmet runs it in for 18 yards on a throw by Fields. And the Bears are back in front of Miami.
Welcome back to the Bears Coaches Show with Bears head coach Matt Eberflus. Calling all Bears fans, get the ultimate VIP fan package with Chicago Bears VIP. Secure a game ticket and appearance from Bears legends and more by visiting ChicagoBearsVIP.com. Just heard Justin Fields, one of his 3 touchdown throws. The tight end Cole Kmet, 18-yarder. Again, another block by one of your receivers at the end. Just a little shield by Equimedius St. Brown to get him sprung free. So Cole's feeling it, man. He had a big smile on his face. I saw him upstairs today. He was going to speak after you at the podium this afternoon. And he goes, man, it feels different. It looks different. And, God, he got involved. That was in many different ways. Let's break down his day a little bit.
Yeah, so Cole really had a nice day. Obviously, first and foremost, his blocking was really good. His run after catch has been great all year. You saw him take that catch for the first down and, really do a good job. We showed that in a team meeting today about our style, because that's what we believe in. And he's been doing a great job. In that play, the first touchdown play obviously was a great fake by Justin, and then being able to roll and then throw the ball on time. Great play call in that situation. And again, they had everybody loaded up in the box, and we were really relying on the play fake by him, and then also the athleticism. If you get him on a one-on-one on the edge with somebody, more than likely he's going to do a pretty good job of winning that one-on-one. I'm talking about Justin, to be able to get that ball in the open field and then deliver the pass.
Funny because, I almost every week we do these preview shows. We got to pick a player to watch on both sides of the ball, Tom and I. And, depending on the matchups, whatever, we try to put the coaching headset on somehow. And I just keep pounding the table for Cole. And I mentioned it in the coaches show last week with you. And you always deflect and say, we're going to try to get everybody involved. But his value to all those points you just mentioned right there, like when he trucked that defensive back, I believe it was Xavier Howard, right? Number 25. That inspires a sideline, doesn't it? You're feeling that, too, on the sideline. That gets your offense going. The red zone, I mean, he's just a big dude that can shield bodies. And his blocking is so valuable. But is this something that, could really develop between him and Justin?
No, I do. They're getting chemistry, and they're doing a good job of that. The one thing about Cole is that he brings high energy. Doesn't matter the situation, doesn't matter if it's practice or it's walkthrough or if it's a game. He's always going to bring it. And that's what I really love about him. His energy is always high, and he executes at a high level, and he really does a good job of using that big body of his to be able to, hammer the ball down the field. And he's athletic too. There's a lot of things athletically he can do that most people can't at that size. And so we're really pleased with where he is.
Another big dude, and let's not forget about the two-pointer because that matters too. Trevin Wesco got his first hands on the ball, so big target again. Mm-hmm. Got a lot of big targets on this team.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good thing to have. We like size. We like guys with big catch radiuses. Down there in the gold zone. So what a nice play for Wesco to be a part of. 26
snaps for Chase Claypool. It's right in the wheelhouse of what was anticipated that you suggested, 10 to 30, somewhere in that range. And he had 6 targets, a couple catches, continuity, chemistry. That will grow. I mean, he's got all the tools.
Yeah. So we're excited to see his growth in this offense, and utilize him more and more as we get going week to week, and it's certainly exciting for us.
How about the job Luke Getsy's doing, the creativity angle?
It's great. It's been great, and really a credit to him and his coaching staff. Those guys get together, to come up with the first 15, and do a really good job with the creativity of getting the athletes the ball in space. And we talked about this during the mini-buy of maximizing our strengths and minimizing our weaknesses. And they've done a really good job of that since that point. And they're going to continue to be creative, utilizing the width and depth of the field and utilizing our skill sets.
We mentioned about the ball control, controlling the clock to keep that offense off the field. We saw what they could do. You were headed in that direction. Did you have a target number for TOP?
No.
Okay.
We did not have that. We just
Tom Thayer said he wanted 38.
Okay.
And that was one of his keys to the game. You got to 34 plus.
I thought Tom would say 48. But no, we didn't have a target area there. We just want to do a good job of controlling the ball on offense, converting on third down. Obviously, running the ball for us is very important, and then playing complementary football. And we knew we were going against a high-powered offense, and we wanted to limit their exposure as much as we could on offense. And the offense did a really good job of that.
11 of 18 combined on third and fourth down against the Dolphins. You feel you're turning the corner here on third down?
Yeah, I really do. They're doing a really good job of being creative. And Justin creates a lot of those scenarios, so makes the defense stay honest for sure.
So much to talk about on the offense, but so much to talk about on the defensive side of the ball as well. We'll break that down, as well as look ahead to Sunday's matchup at Soldier Field against the Detroit Lions.
Fields in the shotgun, back to his left, bunch set to the left side, and a stand-up tight end right side of the line, takes the snap. Has a clean pocket, fires into the end zone. Left corner, Darnell Mooney makes the catch for the touchdown. Beautiful throw, wonderful catch. Fields to Mooney. They've been cooking this stuff up for months, and the connection comes home. Mooney, his first touchdown catch of 2022.
Welcome back to the Bears Coaches Show with head coach Matt Eberflus. Ready, set, and go to any Jewel Osco for freshness at your fingertips with every handoff. Get everything from produce and meat to deli treats and more. That was Darnell Mooney touchdown catch. Break it down because nice feathered throw by Justin, protection, but also a terrific route and adjustment to the ball by Mooney. He's got a rubber band body a little bit when he goes up for those high. He's proud of. I just talked to him last week about it. He goes, I can get 50-50 balls too. because we were talking about the size in the huddle. He's like, wow, I look around, I got 6'4", 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", Yeah. But he likes to think he's up there with him with his leaping ability as well.
No, he is, and he's been great, with the receivers and helping everybody out. And he's been learning the offense too. The guys have been learning the offense, and he's really got a good grasp of it now. We ask a lot of the receivers, we really do.
You do, man.
With the alignments, the different alignments every week, the different motions, how they block. He's bought into that, all the way. And you could see him going on there and crack on bigger type guys, linebackers and defensive linemen. And like I said, Tyke's done a really good job with that group.
N'Keal Harry and I talked last week. He says it's complex now. There's a lot on us to determine how it happened in the game, didn't it? On a throw, he thought he should break off the route. It was press coverage. Justin thought differently. A lot on these guys. Put it in context for us.
Yeah, it's just, so for me, being in the meetings, with the offense and with the receivers and the quarterbacks, they have to be on the same page.
Yeah.
But just on the onset of it, they have to learn the motions, the alignments, that they're very detailed, because the way we block force in the running game is different than most. We ask our receivers not just to run off a lot of times. We ask them to block the point of attack, and our guys have done a great job with that. The reason we're able to run the ball the way we are is because a big part of that is because of the receiver position. Everybody always talks about the offensive line, which they should, and they talk about tight ends, which they should, and the runners themselves, which they should. But we utilize our receivers, at a high rate, in terms of how to block force and how to utilize them in that. Now, to go back to Mooney's catch, which was the first question.
Yes.
He did a really good job. It was man coverage. We did a nice job of rubbing, 2 and 3 rub right there, and he ended up being a big box fade into the corner, and did a nice job adjusting to the ball. Justin, feathered it right in there, like you said. And he did a nice job of grabbing it and then controlling it. It's really about control, right? And you got to have 2 steps down. He ended up rolling over, which was the third act. So then he ended up that was the touchdown. Because some might say that, hey, that was maybe a drop because he left the ball on the ground, but the third act was actually the roll. So once he rolled another part of his body down, that was the third act. He had possession of the ball, and he was all squared away. If he was deemed a falling player, after the control 2 steps, he would have to survive the ground and hold on to that ball. So our coaching point for him is to do a good job. Hey, no matter what, come up with the ball, because we don't know how they're going to see it. The way they saw it was the correct way, and we're all squared away with that touchdown.
We've learned you can't complain, but boy, it's so egregious. The Claypool, I don't know, it's a big bear hug, I guess the best way to describe it. It's so blatant. Is there anything you can teach a player then if that happens? I mean, how do you work with that? And that was you don't have to say it. I can say it. That was doggone pass interference.
Well, based on the rule, if both guys are playing the ball, they allow contact. There's a contact allowed. Like, for example, on Eddie's, Eddie's,
which was inadvertent though.
Well, he was playing the ball.
Yeah.
Right. So there's allowed contact there. So, and again, I thought Eddie played that perfectly. And then going back to the Claypool play, when you see early contact and early pull and restriction, that to me is what we deem as DPI. Now, again, that's their opinion, right? The officials, they make their calls. They threw the flag there, or didn't throw the flag there and threw the flag on the other one. And that's what you have to live with it. You have to agree with it. You can agree to disagree, and you got to move forward from there.
Back on the Bears Coaches Show with Bears head coach Matt Eberflus. All right, let's talk about the defense. And one of the things I'd like to get into, because I love how you break things down, X's and O's. For years, we've heard the bunch sets are hard to deal with for the opposition when you're defending these, because you can't get contact on these guys, maybe one guy, but they head in different directions. It's like playing marbles. What are the coaching techniques with this, and especially with those guys? At times, it almost like Canadian Football League with Waddle and Tyreek Hill almost running at full speed in motion, curving off the line of scrimmage at the snap. How do you deal with this?
Well, I can refer back to the one play that I think it was the second, third down play that we had, where they line up in a bunch set, and Tyreek motioned down into inside number 3. Started out at 1, which means he's outside receiver. Then he motioned down to what the number 3 receiver, which inside receiver in a bunch set, and we had a double on him. So we had Jalen was on him on the outside, and then Eddie was on the inside. So we were actually true doubling. So we just got to do a good job of really keeping our leverage points, on defense. So if you're an outside leverage point player, trust your help that's inside and keep your outside leverage point there. And really, that's across the board. We just got to do a better job of that as going forward, of making sure we're disciplined and keeping our leverage points.
And then how about those pick routes? Same thing. That's that's down the field now. So how do you deal with that, especially with that kind of speed?
Yeah, I would just say get connection. We got to do a better job getting connected to the receiver and then running with them hip to hip. If we do that, then you're able to avoid those picks downfield, and what we call jet stream, so you can get right behind them, so you don't get picked by the other offensive player.
So there's a ways then, is what you're saying, to avoid getting
So if I got a guy running a crossing route on me, we call it a jet stream. So what you do is you get right behind him, so you're like in his jet stream. As you go through the pickable moments, and then you slide to the bottom shoulder or top shoulder based on what the coverage is from that point. So you can really avoid those pick routes by doing a good technique with that.
How serious does it get for a defense when you got Waddle and you got Tyreek catching pass after pass after pass, 75-yard drives, keeping stuff in front of you, hoping to tackle, but they're gaining these chunks. And we talked about that. That team does not get a lot of yards after the catch for whatever reason. They were second lowest in the league, but the throws at the catch point, they were by far the top team in the league. It's a really good offense with protection. He's gonna play pitch and catch. It almost looks like 7-on-7. How do you keep their morale up during this, because you're asking them not to get beat over the top?
Yeah, so we have to do a better job with getting guys up underneath them. So that, to me, it's not always all in the DBs. We always say, hey, it's the DBs. Well, that's true to a certain degree. We want DBs to stay connected, to bust the triangle, at the catch point and all those things, but they need help, and they need help by what? Pass rush. The pass rush has to get there. It's rushing cover and rush. And then the linebackers and safeties have to do a good job when you're in single high or in shell defense of getting up underneath those players, and creating small windows for the quarterback. So it's really about team defense. We have to do a good job. Again, we had some new players in there at different spots. Obviously, Nick played Will this time, which is an adjustment for him. He was playing Mike the entire year, and we moved Sanborn to Mike. He was in there for his first start, and they did a solid job. A solid job in there. Like I said after the post game, they did a really good job in the run game. The run game was at a good average, which is respectable for us, and it's something that we emphasized last week and want to keep improving on in the run game.
Yeah, let's talk about Jack. Jack Sanborn, debut Soldier Field in a starting role, had 7 tackles. I think he had the first tackle of the game. Just overall, how he adapted.
I thought he was good. I thought his block protection was good. I think his key reading was good. Like I said, those guys needed to be up underneath some of those routes a little bit better. But overall, I thought it was solid. He communicated well. It was not too big for him. He was under control. He had self-control. He communicated well in the huddle, made the checks when we needed to make them. And, again, he played solid.
Fourth quarter, if I'm not mistaken, a few more blitzes came home and disrupted. Could that be a trend depending on the matchup at different parts of the game? I know you guys are not going to become
no doubt. I always believe in that. I always believe in setting the offense off pace, and that I think we should do more of that. And we'll see going forward where that goes. But again, there's been times where we have, and we just got to do a good job of knocking them off pace. Let's
talk about Justin Jones, because every game he's getting a little something, whether it be a pass break up the line, getting his hands up, tackle for loss, and again he had a pressure, led to an incomplete pass. He had a stop for no gain at the start of the fourth quarter there. How's he been playing at that most important 3 technique?
Yeah, he's been playing well, and we've been moving him around a little bit, in terms of his stunting and moving. We're always going to do that, and he's really good at that because he's a real good athlete, and he's got to continue to lead that group now. He's obviously named captain last week, and he's been good in that role. He's got to continue to grow himself in that role, but he's a big part of what we're going to do this week.
Welcome back to the Bears Coaches Show with Bears head coach Matt Eberflus. We'll take a look at the Lions here in just a moment. Just going to hit a couple of quick points here. Does your approach to the game plan begin to take on a different feel when you start scoring so many points? You got 29 points plus the last 3 games, so do you adjust things because your offense, or is it an in-game feel?
No, I think you always play off each other's strengths for sure, and that can adjust during the course of every week. Sometimes your offense is playing against a really good defense, and you have to anticipate that, and vice versa. Your defense could be playing against a really good offense. So I think you really have to adjust week to week, and you have to have a game plan together as a football team to win that game. And again, that changes in game. Sometimes it does change in game, where we were playing a team that has a good defense, and all of a sudden our offense is really moving the ball on them. So that certainly changes and adjusts your thinking on the other side of the ball, as well as special teams. It also changes your charts, based on where you're going to go for things. You might slide your aggressiveness up and down based on what's happening in the game. So you're always there to win the football game, and we're making adjustments all the time.
We've spent almost the entire show have not mentioned David Montgomery or Khalil Herbert. But, we knew it wasn't going to be simple against that team. They were 6th ranked against the run. They had to get carries to at least, you got to keep them honest. So just talk about what they dealt with against this team.
Yeah, it was just using our 1-2 punch again. David obviously had a really good day, I thought, of him really making some of those runs when we needed them.
Rugged, hard runs.
Strong, Chicago way, and he's done a really good job with that all year. So, it was a little bit tougher yesterday, but again, we opened up the running game with the quarterback, and that's going to sometimes happen, where they're going to give us the pull keeps, where he's going to pull it instead of hand it off, and they gave us a lot of those reads yesterday.
Let's talk about a coaching point for Khalil Herbert on the punt block on the edge. Jalen Phillips is no simple guy for an offensive lineman to block.
Yeah, he isn't, and he chose to use a cut block on that particular case, and then to just end up missing it, and he's just got to set his feet just a little bit quicker, be a little bit more aggressive, and get him down on the ground there. So, again, that was a nice play by him, by the Dolphins player, Jalen. It's
a long guy, too.
Yeah.
So with that, because this is, again, I keep bringing up Tom, but Tom and that offensive line, all they did was love cut blocking as offensive linemen. So what's the key to that? What's the key to that, to making a good cut block for a guy?
Yeah, I would just say that to keep his inside post leg up, and keep that power foot up, and then really just to go to the inside knee, and then do a good job of, cutting that inside thigh board, and then you'll definitely cut him off from that easy path inside.
Santos keeps rolling. Another field goal.
Yep.
In a windy day, kind of strange. Their kicker had never missed one in that range in his career, and he did at Soldier Field. It looked like a chip shot. So and it was the first time he ever played at Soldier Field, Jason Sanders. So that is definitely a home field edge for these kickers who come in. They look a little uncomfortable when they come to Soldier Field. You see them doing a lot more kicks before the game, punters and kickers, and that starts to creep into their mind a little bit.
Yeah, Cairo, obviously had a big week last week. He became a U.S. citizen, so that's pretty cool. And
didn't know that.
Yeah, he did it on the day off last
cool.
week. So we talked about it as a football team, and he was excited about that. And he said, we all started chanting USA, USA right after practice on Wednesday when I announced it. And but he did say, it's the World Cup, right? The soccer. He said when the World Cup goes on, he's still rooting for Brazil. So.
He's allowed.
Yeah.
He's allowed.
But he's been having.
How cool is that? That's a great story.
It was great, and the team really loved it, and we love Cairo. So, and he's done a great job. I'm always in communication with Cairo before the game. Which way do you want to kick first? What do you want to, what's looking good for you? What's your distances? What are you thinking? And he's always very calm and collected, and him and I have a lot of communication before the game.
You don't realize it, but there's the fans may not, but there's so many guys that Khalil Herbert's family is from, I think, Bermuda, Nikhil Harry, right. St. Vincent and the Virgin Islands, Southern Caribbean. There's so many, on this roster and throughout the league that, Harry's great story. His family, took a long time. His grandmother had to come here to bring him here to give him a life. And, it's just the stories are stunning. Nothing that you and I ever had to worry about. Or go through.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, that those guys are involved in, becoming U.S. citizens like Cairo, and they really appreciate the United States of America. So it's really cool.
Now it's time to look ahead. Brought to you by Bet Rivers, the official sportsbook partner of the Bears. The Lions come to Soldier Field for a noon kickoff. Get their second win of the season, and Bears fans always love it when it's over the Green Bay Packers, 15-9. I've never heard of Aaron Rodgers throwing 3 picks, not since his rookie year anyway, but they got him. So what do we know about the Detroit Lions and Dan Campbell? I guess the first thing is that, you think of toughness.
Yeah, no doubt. They're playing super hard, and obviously had a great game last week. Their first-round draft pick, Hutchinson's doing a wonderful job. Obviously the 2 picks by Joseph yesterday. They have some athletic linebackers in Anzalone and Barnes, so they got some guys up front. So it's going to be a handful for offense for sure, and then on the defensive side, obviously the quarterback's got great experience, they got some really good skill sets at running back and receiver and we're going to have our hands full there too. But we'll set the game plan up for success, and we'll work it during the course of the week, and we're excited about the matchup.
Another two-pronged rushing attack. Heck, a couple weeks ago, and this is how fickle the NFL is, they were the number one offense in football, and they're still ranked very highly, but, things change on the dime with injuries and whatnot. And then you got a situation, Equiminius St. Brown, these two, and his brother, Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's really come on strong since the middle of last season. They've had a bet on this game. They're an own family bet, but the brothers playing against each other, it's kind of a cool story.
No, I think it is, and he's had a really productive year. He's their leading receiver, so he's obviously really done well with.
Well, he's a good player now, right?
Oh, yeah, very good player, very explosive. He goes up and gets the ball, and he's an aggressive player. So he's certainly done a great job this year.
In their offensive line, they had the big left tackle and Penei Sewell, the tackle that they got out of Oregon a couple years ago, and so they got big names on the offensive line. So that'll probably be a pretty big challenge there for your defensive line.
That's
one of the things you'll
for
focus
for our defensive line for sure, and we'll have to get to work on it.
All right, Matt. Well, appreciate it. Good luck on your preparation this week. Get back to Soldier Field, get that crowd. How was the crowd yesterday,
Great.
by the way?
They were great.
Did they get lit up?
Yes, they did. They were wonderful. We were excited to be back, in Soldier Field, with the Chicago Bear fans, man. And they were just, and they travel well too. When we're on the road, they're there too, supporting us. So we're excited about getting back there another time.
All right, good luck. That is Matt Eberflus. I want to thank Keith Johnson, Andy Gersher, Dan Barilli, and Jordan Tredup. I'm Jeff Joniak, back at Soldier Field, Week 10. Bears-Lions, pregame at 9, kickoff at noon. Stay tuned. Monday Night Football on 780. Joined in progress with New Orleans and Baltimore. News continues on 105.9, where CBS News at the top of the hour is next. This is News Radio 105.9 WBBM. Good night, everybody.